and something to eat in the morning. It's wonderful because...
At 91, Sophia Loren finally speaks up about George Peppard. Sophia Loren was born Sophia Villani Ciccolone on September 20th, 1934, in Rome, Italy, and raised in the poverty-stricken town of Pozzuoli near Naples. Her early life was marked by hardship and scarcity. She grew up during the chaos of World War II, often seeking shelter during air raids and enduring hunger. Despite these challenges, young Sophia's striking beauty and indomitable spirit shone through. She was a child who dreamed beyond her surroundings, gazing at the distant horizon with hopes of one day escaping the shadows of post-war Italy. Her resilience, shaped by those early struggles, would later become the cornerstone of her remarkable journey to stardom. Her path to fame began humbly, when, at the age of 15, she entered a local beauty contest, where her captivating presence caught the attention of film producer Carlo Ponti, a man who would forever change her destiny. He saw not just her physical beauty, but also her intelligence, warmth, and natural charisma. Under Ponti's guidance, Sophia began working in small film roles, gradually transforming from a shy, undernourished girl into a confident and mesmerizing screen presence. Their professional relationship soon blossomed into a deep romantic bond, and despite many obstacles, including legal and societal barriers, they would later marry and remain devoted to one another for more than 5 decades, until Ponti's death in 2007. Sophia Loren's rise to international fame was meteoric. Her breakthrough came in the 1950s, when she starred in Italian films such as Ada, 1953, and The Gold of Naples, 1954, where her raw talent and passionate performances captivated audiences. Her ability to express profound emotion through her eyes and gestures distinguished her from many of her contemporaries. Loren embodied not only beauty, but also substance, bringing depth and authenticity to every role she played. Her transition to Hollywood marked the beginning of a new era. She became an international sensation, starring alongside some of cinema's greatest legends, including Cary Grant, Frank Sinatra, Clark Gable, and Marcello Mastroianni. In 1961, her extraordinary performance in Two Women, La Chiocchiara, directed by Vittorio De Sica, earned her the Academy Award for Best Actress. It was a landmark achievement. Not only was she the first actor to win an Oscar for a performance in a foreign-language film, but she also solidified her place among the world's most respected actresses. Her portrayal of Cicera, a mother struggling to protect her daughter during wartime, revealed an emotional intensity that transcended language barriers. This performance remains one of the most powerful depictions of human suffering and maternal love ever captured on screen. Throughout the 1960s and 1970s, Loren continued to dominate both European and American cinema. She brought elegance, humor, and sensuality to her roles in films such as Marriage Italian Style, Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow, Arabesque, and The Millionairess. Her collaborations with Marcello Mastroianni became legendary. Together, they created a timeless on-screen chemistry that blended romance, wit, and genuine affection. Loren's presence was magnetic. She carried herself with an aura of dignity and strength, always maintaining her authenticity amid the glamour of fame. As the years passed, Loren continued to inspire new generations of artists and audiences alike. She never allowed age to diminish her sense of purpose or her artistic passion. Her later performances in films such as 9, 2009, and The Life Ahead, 2020, proved that her talent and emotional depth were as powerful as ever. In The Life Ahead, directed by her son Edoardo Ponti, Loren delivered a deeply moving performance as Madame Rosa, a Holocaust survivor caring for orphaned children, a role that beautifully encapsulated her lifelong ability to portray strength through vulnerability. On September 24, 2023, the world held its breath as news broke that the legendary Sophia Loren had suffered a serious fall at her home in Switzerland. The beloved Italian screen icon, whose grace and vitality had long defied her years, was rushed to the hospital after sustaining multiple fractures to her hip and femur. The accident, which occurred in her private residence near Geneva, was described by close sources as a deeply worrying moment for her family and fans alike. Within hours, Loren underwent emergency surgery performed by a specialized medical team determined to restore her mobility and prevent further complications. Sophia Loren's romantic and marital life has long been intertwined with the name Carlo Ponti Sr., the distinguished Italian film producer who played a central role not only in her personal happiness, but also in shaping her legendary career. Their relationship was one of the most fascinating and enduring love stories in the history of international cinema, a tale of deep affection, artistic collaboration, and defiance of convention in an era when their union was considered controversial by both the church and the courts. Sophia Loren first met Carlo Ponti in 1950 when she was only 15 years old and had just begun her journey into the world of beauty pageants and acting. Ponti, 22 years her senior and already a successful film producer, recognized her extraordinary potential immediately. He became her mentor, guiding her through the early stages of her career, helping her secure auditions, and refining her image from a shy, awkward teenager into a poised, glamorous actress ready to captivate audiences worldwide. What began as a professional relationship soon blossomed into something deeper, an emotional connection rooted in mutual admiration, shared dreams, and genuine love. Their path to marriage, however, was fraught with obstacles. Carlo Ponti was still legally married to his first wife, Giuliana Fiastri, and Italy's strict divorce laws at the time made it nearly impossible for him to obtain a legal separation without facing moral and religious condemnation. Despite the legal barriers, Sophia and Carlo's devotion to each other only deepened. In 1957, they married by proxy in Mexico, with lawyers standing in for them during the ceremony, a move that caused a scandal in Italy where the union was not recognized. This marriage was later annulled in 1962 to avoid bigamy charges, but the annulment did not signal the end of their relationship. On the contrary, it solidified their resolve to remain together despite societal and religious pressures. Their love story eventually triumphed over adversity. In 1966, after years of legal and personal challenges, Carlo Ponti finally obtained French citizenship, which allowed him to divorce his first wife and legally marry Sophia Loren once again, this time in Paris. This second marriage marked the true beginning of their lifelong partnership, both as husband and wife and as creative collaborators. Carlo produced several of Sophia's most acclaimed films, including Two Women, 1960, which earned her the Academy Award for Best Actress, and Marriage Italian Style, 1964, both directed by Vittorio De Sica. Together, Sophia and Carlo built an artistic empire, representing the epitome of Italian elegance and sophistication on the world stage. Their marriage, which lasted more than 40 years, was one of profound loyalty, mutual respect, and shared destiny. Unlike many Hollywood relationships that faltered under the pressures of fame, Sophia and Carlo's bond endured through the decades. They raised two sons, Carlo Jr., who became an orchestra conductor, and Eduardo, who became a film director, both of whom carried forward their parents' creative legacy. Sophia often described her husband as her great love, crediting him for believing in her when few others did, for giving her confidence, and for shaping her into both a world-class actress and a woman of depth and dignity. Carlo Ponti passed away in 2007, leaving behind a void in Sophia Loren's life that could never truly be filled. His death marked the end of an era for her, both personally and professionally, but Sophia has continued to honor his memory with grace, frequently speaking of him as the guiding force behind her life's greatest achievements. Even in her later years, she often reflects on their journey together, recalling their laughter, their shared dreams, and the quiet strength of their companionship. Their story remains a timeless example of how love can endure against all odds, a romantic partnership built not only on passion, but on deep understanding, artistic synergy, and unwavering commitment. At the age of 91, Sophia Loren remains one of the last living legends of Hollywood's golden era, an enduring symbol of beauty, intelligence, and emotional depth. Throughout her long and illustrious career, she has shared the screen with many of the greatest leading men of her generation, but one name she has seldom spoken about publicly is George Peppard. Only now, in her later years, does she feel comfortable opening up about their time together, revealing both the admiration and the challenges that came with working alongside such a complex and fascinating man. "George was a mystery to me," Loren begins softly. "He was handsome, talented, but there was something behind his eyes, something troubled, something that wanted to prove itself at every moment." Loren recalled how she first met Peppard in the early 1960s, when both were at the height of their careers. She was already an international star, known for her luminous performances in Two Women, El Cid, and Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. Peppard, meanwhile, had just come off his breakout success in Breakfast at Tiffany's, establishing himself as one of Hollywood's most promising new leading men. "We met at a dinner in Los Angeles," she remembered. "He was quiet at first, almost distant, but when he spoke, his voice carried great authority. I could see he was a man who had fought hard to be taken seriously." Loren described how Peppard possessed an old-fashioned sense of masculinity, one that was both appealing and at times intimidating. "He could be charming," she said, "but he also carried a certain pride, an armor, you could say, that made it difficult to know him deeply." Their professional relationship, according to Loren, was marked by respect, but also tension. "George was very serious about his craft," she explained. "He wanted everything to be perfect, every line, every gesture. That kind of intensity can be beautiful, but it can also be exhausting. He would sometimes get frustrated when things didn't go his way, and I would just look at him and smile. I told him, 'George, life is not a battlefield.' He laughed, but I don't think he ever fully believed it." Loren's laughter at the memory was tinged with melancholy, as though she were remembering a man who never quite found peace with himself. He wanted recognition, but he also pushed people away. That was his contradiction. The Italian actress spoke candidly about Peppard's reputation in Hollywood, his perfectionism, his stubbornness, and his sometimes difficult personality. "He had a fire inside him," she said, "and that fire burned bright, but it also burned him." She recalled how Peppard's conflicts with studios and co-stars eventually cost him many opportunities that could have made his career even greater. "He didn't always play the Hollywood game," Loren admitted. "He wanted to be respected as an artist, not just a handsome man." I admired that. But in this business, you sometimes have to bend a little, and George never wanted to bend. Still, Loren's tone was affectionate, rather than critical. "There was a kindness in him that people didn't always see," she said. "Between takes, he could be very gentle. He loved to talk about books, about politics, about the human condition. He was not superficial. He had a mind that was always searching, always questioning." Loren paused, her voice softening. "Sometimes I think he was too intelligent for the world he found himself in. Hollywood is a place that rewards charm more than thought. George had both, but he was never comfortable with the illusion of it all." Reflecting on Peppard's later years, Loren grew visibly emotional. "It made me sad to see how the industry turned its back on him," she confessed. "He deserved better. There was a time when he could have been one of the greats, like Brando, like Newman, But fate had other ideas. Loren added that Peppard's struggles with alcohol and personal demons seemed to stem from the same restless energy that once made him so magnetic on screen. He wanted truth in everything, she said, but truth can be painful, and he carried that pain inside him. When asked what she would say to George Peppard today if he were still alive, Loren smiled wistfully. "I would tell him that he was wonderful," she said, "that he didn't have to fight so hard, that his talent was enough." After a long pause, she added quietly, "He was a good man, even when he didn't believe it himself." Sophia Loren's reflections on George Peppard offer a rare glimpse into the humanity of two icons shaped by the same demanding world. Her words, tinged with wisdom and compassion, reveal not only her respect for Peppard as an artist, but also her understanding of the fragility behind his strength. "We were from different worlds," she concluded, "but I always understood him. Beneath the pride, beneath the struggle, there was a man who simply wanted to be loved."